First at 4, what a mess. We have new information about the tornado that caused this kind of destruction in Genesee County. This is a live picture of a tree that toppled. We have a live report in less than 60 seconds, and Kim is looking forward.
Well, that's right. We have the track of that tornado to talk about coming up. And also, it feels like it is 60 degrees colder than it was at this same time yesterday. And there's some snow on the radar. We'll talk about all of it coming up.
All right, what's the secret sauce? We're inside a school district that says that it is closing the COVID learning gap at an incredibly fast rate.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, we're getting some new information right now about the confirmed tornado that just tore through the Grand Blanc area overnight. Spent about 10 minutes on the ground with max winds hitting 115 miles an hour. Now, we've been with residents today as they survey the damage. Let's go live to Megan Woods. She is in Grand Blanc Township at this hour. What's the latest?
Well, Karen, as many people as we've talked to, they say, yes, this tornado was intense, but they are so grateful that nobody was hurt. So right now we are at on Reed near Porter, and that's where you see this road closure. So crews are dealing with down power lines, huge or with high voltage. And so they're trying to get those out of the street. They're trying to control that. And then if you look at this home right here, you see so many tree limbs snapped and then trees uprooted. And not just here. If you pan a little bit over, you see multiple. I'm counting 1, 2, 3 uprooted trees and several others snapped. And when we speak to homeowners, we spoke to one homeowner who is just still in disbelief. And she describes the moment she realized that tornado touched down.
I'm still in shock. My husband wakes me up and he comes down the hall. He says, things are flying by the windows. I said, what do you mean? I said, that don't make no sense. Things don't fly by the windows. And he goes, oh yeah, it does. It's a tornado or something out here.
In the next hour at 5 o'clock, we get a closer look at where that tornado first touched down, one of the local parks here in Grand Blanc Township. We also talked to more residents, and they describe the aftermath, but also the moment that tornado touched down. Reporting live in Grand Blanc Township, I'm Megan Woods, Local 4.
All right, we'll check back with you in a little bit. Thank you, Megan. Meantime, our forewarned weather department did warn us there was a chance of tornadoes. Kim Adams is here to show us how that dramatic shift in our weather played out. You told us to be on alert, Kim.
That's right. And also nocturnal tornadoes, nighttime tornadoes are more dangerous than those in the daytime. And this one certainly did cause a problem in Grand Blanc. We started tracking it just after 1 o'clock. We got a tornado signature on it. And sure enough, a tornado did form just outside of I-75. This was at 1:12. And then it moved directly through the city of Grand Blanc over to Perry Road before it lifted back up again. Peak wind gust, 150 miles per hour. Peak winds, I should say, 115 miles per hour. It was on the ground for 10 minutes from 1:12 to 1:22. It was a 5.7-mile path. It was 450 yards wide. What exactly does that mean? We've got to kind of do a little refresher on that EF scale because we haven't talked about it for a while, but it goes from EF0 to EF5, so we are right here with an EF2 with winds of 111 to 135. This is the second tornado we have ever had in February. We've had one in every month except January. The last one in February was all the way back in 1974. Right now, Kimberly Gill is standing by in the newsroom to give us a look at some of the destruction across the country from this same system. Kim?
Kim, good afternoon. It's been a rough day for so many people in several states thanks to severe weather and even wildfires down in Texas. The Midwest was especially hard hit with storms bashing through Michigan, Ohio, and in Illinois. So let's go ahead and start in Mundelein, Illinois, which is a northern suburb of Chicago. The local NBC station there says there are 5 reports of tornado touchdowns being investigated. The powerful storms left all this damage behind, and also brought heavy lightning and golf ball-sized hail to the Chicago area. The National Weather Service is expected to survey the damage soon. Okay, let's move to Ohio now. Several homes are damaged with roofs and walls ripped away. The National Weather Service is also at work in the town of Springfield, which is between Dayton and Columbus there in Ohio. Emergency officials say early alerts probably saved lives as many residents rush to seek shelter. While winter tornadoes have been rare in our area, Ohio has seen them almost every year since the year 2012. Okay, now down in Texas, a fast-moving wildfire could become the state's largest ever. It's already the second largest. It's forcing evacuations and triggering power outages. The Smokehouse Creek fire ignited Monday and has been spreading thanks to red flag conditions through the Texas Panhandle. And we just learned the fire has now burned nearly 1,300 square miles. So far, no deaths or injuries have been reported. The governor of Texas has issued a disaster declaration for 60 counties. So, Karen, authorities haven't said what sparked the fire, but unseasonably warm temperatures have definitely fed the flames. The forecast is giving people some reason for hope with less wind and possible rain tomorrow, so that will help. We'll keep an eye on the situation. We'll send it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Kim. Now, there is some big news from Capitol Hill this afternoon where the Republican Senate leader, Mitch McConnell, has announced he will leave that position in November. A short time ago, McConnell took to the Senate floor to announce his decision. His impact will be felt for years. Most notably, he helped tilt the balance on the Supreme Court by denying then-President Obama an appointment in 2016 and then rushing the confirmation of Justice Amy Coney Barrett in 2020. The 82-year-old says he plans to finish his current term, which ends in January of 2027. President Biden's son, Hunter, defended his father and then condemned an impeachment inquiry during a closed-door deposition today. The younger Biden fought against giving testimony behind closed doors. He wanted a public hearing, but was denied by Republicans. Today, he told the House Oversight and Judiciary Committees his father was never involved in his business activities. Democrats call the ongoing inquiry bogus, while some Republicans say they're not buying Biden's testimony. President Biden and former President Donald Trump both won big in Michigan's primary election, but results show both could face some challenges in November. The Democratic president took 81% of the vote, but 13% voted uncommitted, likely part of that backlash Biden is receiving for the war in Gaza. In 2020, Biden won Michigan by about 150,000 votes, with more than 100,000 voting uncommitted. You can see the possible impact in the general election. Republican Donald Trump took 68% of the vote over Nikki Haley's 26%. That support for Haley, who grabbed more than 290,000 votes, indicates some Republicans may have misgivings about Trump. It all shows Michigan will be a key battleground come November. In this Local 4 update, the cause of a house explosion on Detroit's east side remains under investigation right now. Sky 4 was over the scene on Barlow Street 24 hours ago. 3 children in a nearby home were injured after the blast shook up the whole neighborhood. The kids were taken to the hospital. They are back home today. We'll keep you posted on that investigation. It's no secret the COVID pandemic had a huge impact on education, but there is some good news from Detroit Public Schools. Not only is the district closing the COVID gap, the superintendent there says the objective data showing student performance is at its highest rate ever. Paula Tubman takes us inside the district to show us what's going right.
Okay, so what's the difference? We're taking you inside the classrooms and inside a school district that says its students are actually doing better than they've ever done before in the history of the district. And in terms of that learning loss because of COVID, they're closing the gap at an incredibly fast rate. At Pulaski, a K-8 middle school on the city's east side, Principal Tyra Smith-Bell, an education expert, calls her kids scholars, not just students. And in this school, palpable proof students have caught up with themselves and are quickly closing the COVID learning gap, according to data being released by the DPSCD school district.
We're improving at a faster pace than suburban school districts, faster and better than Michigan on average, and better and faster than other large urban school districts in the country.
Dr. Vitti says there are 3 key reasons the learning loss gap is being closed so quickly. Number one, staffing. The district says it is nearly fully staffed with teachers who are not just bodies in classrooms, but subject matter experts teaching what they actually learn to teach, like Mrs. Rolak's 8th grade ELA class or English language arts.
Based on what you know and based on who you are, I want to make sure that the next thing that we learn is based on those two components.
The curriculum is at grade level. That's the second piece, which means if you are in the 8th grade, you are learning the approved 8th grade curriculum.
But if you don't understand the question, you can give me a thumbs down or a sideways and I will try to elaborate more.
And number three, if a student is falling behind, there are immediate interventions like small group instruction and other wraparound supports. Jamaica Brown says it has changed the learning for her 8th grader.
The school helped, they supported me, they supported my son, they offered everything they could to get him, and they got him here. And his grades still went up.
Graduation rates, the highest in the history of the district. From a recent low of 64% in 2021, dab smack in the middle of the COVID pandemic, to now nearly 75%. Still not good enough, he says, but a heck of a lot better than before.
We all know the pandemic was heavy and disproportionately more heavy in Detroit because of the disproportionate impact that COVID had, mainly on the Black community. And the fact that we were able to pivot and turn a corner, I think just speaks to the dedication of our principals, our teachers, our staff.
Yeah, okay, so what's next? Attendance. And while truancy is down and attendance is up across the district, Dr. Vitti gave an interesting factoid. He says if a student misses no more than 9 days of instruction, they can have a better educational outcome. They can get that kid to graduation. That's what they're eyeing now for the future, getting that attendance way up. Karen?
So very important. All right. Thank you, Paula.